Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is a yet another 3 palettes, 3 looks video. And I am touching some of my favorite palettes in my collection today. I cannot wait to show you guys what it is. So let's begin. So this week we are going to touch Nomad Chicago Speakeasy palette. This is such a beautiful, like a cooler tone as well as warmer tone, all mixed in one color story. I absolutely love this palette. This is definitely by far my favorite Nomad palette that I have in my collection. I cannot recommend this enough. If you like my kind of color story that I love to wear, I absolutely think you would absolutely love any of these palettes actually. The next palette that I'm going to talk about is the Violet Crazy palette from Kryptein Cosmetics. And this is, yes, a predominantly a purple violet leaning palette, but also it has so many pops of like muted pinks and corals and greens and some wearable neutral tones, which makes it so much more versatile. Actually, I'm wearing this eye look on my eyes today with the Violet Crazy palette. I really love this one. And then last, certainly not the least, we are gonna dip into the Rich Romantic palette from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. This is also such a beautiful romantic color story. I love the quality of the Glaminatrix palettes. You know, I absolutely love them with my whole heart. So I cannot wait for you guys to see all the three in action. I have a code with all three brands. My code is Smithy Sony to save you 10% off. Now let's move on to the three looks that I created using these palettes. Okay, let's begin our look with the Glaminatrix Rich Romantic palette. Such a beautiful palette. I absolutely love this one. I'm going to start off with this shade Devotion, this peachy shade. It's such a beautiful, vibrant peach. I'm going to take that mainly in the inner part just to give a lot of punch to the eye. Such a beautiful shade. I love this one. And it's easily blendable too. I'm just focusing that on the inner third of the crease. Now for the outer corner, I am going to take this shade Lover, this maroon shade. And I'm going to take that mainly in the outer portion of the eye. And I'm going to take that into the crease melted with that peach. Just like that, okay? I'm going to take that blending brush and just blend the edges. But this is where I want the maximum amount of pigment here, just right there. I'm going to take that same Lover shade on the outer portion of the lower lash line too. Just right there, just to connect everything together. Now I'm going back into that brush with that Devotion shade, the peach. And I'm just gonna blend the edges. Just tiny circular motion. That peach and that maroon together is such a beautiful combination. So I'm just gonna take super tiny circular motion. I'm also gonna take the same peach shade on my inner portion of the lower lash line. Okay, now time for the shimmers, and I definitely want to take that shade Romantic. This one, this iridescent peach shade. I'm going to start off with that and then see where it rolls, because this is an iridescent, like a peach to a green shifting shade. And I want that all scattered across the lid. Just like for a soft dimension. This gives me, like as soon as I finish the look, it looks like this pretty much can be achieved by the Bloom palette from Natasha Denona too. Just saying, okay? If you were eyeing these peachy shades and you did not buy that palette, and if you have Rich Romantic, I feel like this is super close. Yeah, I feel like this is so stunning. Oh, so pretty. Okay, now I'm just going to take a tiny little brush, and I am going to take a very little bit of this shade Charming, and I'm going to take that mainly in the outer portion, blending it with that maroon shade. Just a tad bit, just a pinch. Okay, just like that. Basically just patting the edges just so that there's no harsh lines and everything is just seamless, just right there. And for the inner corner, I am gonna dip into the shade Captivate and just put it right there for the added brightness. Let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara. And that's my final look. I really love this eye look so very much. This is one of my favorite palettes that Glaminatrix has done so far, and I feel like this palette, if you love romantic tones, I don't think you will go wrong with this palette one bit. I absolutely love the combination of these peaches with purpley tones, with these like grungy greens and these soft romantic tones, and the shiftiness in this palette is truly amazing. All you need is like one or two like shimmer shadows on your eyelid, and it will gloss out your eyeshadow so very much. I absolutely love it. I paired my look with the What's a Beauty setting powder. I actually use the shade medium and deep. I use the medium all across my face, and I use the shade deep as a bronzer for my look. That is basically what I have. For the blush, I did use the Patrick Ta blush in the shade Not Too Much, this neutral tone pink shade. And then for my lips, I have a e.l.f. lipstick, and this is in the shade, it's a satin lipstick in the shade No Doubt. It's more of like a warmer peachy nude shade, and I just paired it out with one of the lippy pencils from Colourpop, which is BFF3. So that's basically what I have on my face. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this look. Now let's move on to the next eye look. Okay, let's begin our look with the Nomad Chicago Speakeasy palette. This is such a favorite palette of mine from them. I love this. Of course, I have to dip into these tones and maybe this tone too. I'm not craving more of a maroony brownie look just because yesterday we definitely did go more warm. Let's go more cool tone, and you know how much I love that, right? Okay, so I'm going to start off with this shade, Blind Pig, this one. It's a beautiful dusty purple shade. Now Nomad shades do have a little bit of kick up in the pan, and also you need to tell me about the lighting, okay? Because daylight savings is here, and this is the first time I'm filming. I mean, it's not the first time I'm filming in the morning, but it's the first time I'm filming in the morning with lights on because it's pitch dark outside. But it's almost 8 o'clock, I would say, in the morning. So you need to tell me how this looks to you. There you go. I've dimmed the lighting because I know a lot of people were suggesting that the lights were very bright, and I was like, yes, I definitely dimmed the lighting. I tried recording a few bits and pieces just so that I can try out, and it looked fine to me. Okay, so once we have that all across the crease, I am going to take this shade Knock and Speak Easy, this one, and I'm going to take that majorly in the outer corners of the eye here. It's a little bit more deeper than the shade that we applied right now. But these dusty purple, they sold this palette to me. It's such a beautiful tone. If you love a good dusty purple, cool tone color story, I feel like this palette definitely gives you warm as well as cool. But if you love these mauvey, grayish kind of tones, you would absolutely love it. Okay, so once we have that all across, I would say half of the lid, I'm also going to take that same shade on the lower lash line too. This is going to be a super simple look. Okay, now for the extreme outer corners, I am going to dip into the shade Capone, this one. It's like almost a black, and this would give all the depth that you're looking for. I'm tapping off the excess just because it is powdery in the pan, but if you tap off the excess, you will not have much fallout. Okay, now time for shimmers. I'm going to take Chicago Fizz and Aviation. So we're going to stick to these tones here, Aviation on the outer corner and Chicago Fizz in the inner part. So let's start off with Aviation. which is more of like a purple green kind of color story, and I'm gonna just pick that right there and melt it with that deeper gray shade. This is such a beautiful shade, and the brush that I'm using is actually from Simply Posh Cosmetics brush set. It doesn't have a number on it, but it looks like this. Okay, it picks up the shimmers so nicely. It has like a little bit of pointed tip at the end too, but it is fluffy enough to disperse all the sparkle. And if you spray your brush like with these shimmers, rather than getting like sparkle, you will get more of like a foiled effect. But I want a good sparkled effect, you know me. I love a good sparkled effect. I really hope that you can see the dimension of the shadows too, especially with this light. Any of the other shades would also go beautifully with this palette, with this eye look. Like you can definitely go with green, any of these, but I want to stick to the shade Chicago Fizz. It's more of like an iridescent, but it has like a green to it too, but it has pink too. When you move your eyelid, that's when you can see the majority of the dimension of this eye look. It's truly like a multi-chrome. Just gonna stick that right there in the inner part and the inner corners too. Look how stunning that is. There you go. I'm going back into the shade Blind Pig. This one, the first shade that we applied. And then I'm just gonna take that on the crease just once again, just so that I don't lose that shade, and everything is seamlessly blended. Okay, let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara, and I'll get right back. And that's my final look. I really love the way how this turned out. It's so beautiful, it's ethereal, it's dimensional, but also very simple at the same time. If I can wear it to office, you certainly can. I really love the way how this Chicago Speakeasy palette is curated. In general, I really love it. Now let's move on to the last eye look. Okay, let's begin our look with the Kryptein Cosmetics Violet Crazy palette. I'm so excited for this one. My aim is to use this shade, this one today, because that is like calling out to me, because I always dip into these purpley tones, you know that. That is what I want to surround myself into. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with this Eternal shade, and then I'm going to melt it down with this shade, okay? So let's do that. The Eternal shade is definitely more like a deeper gray, and it's absolutely not a surprise to anyone that I love Kryptein Cosmetics formula. They absolutely, I feel like from the very first palette, they had absolutely amazing formulas. But I feel like their shimmers, they give us like variety of shimmers. They have some smooth shimmers, they have some sparkly shimmers, they have some emollient shimmers, and some textured shimmers. My favorite from them is the smooth and sparkly shimmers, and I feel like Violet Crazy definitely has a bunch of them. None of the shades that are here are like on the textured side. I feel like the one is the most textured, but nowhere close to, like, let's say the Atlantis palette, and also in the Burnt Forest palette, I think we had like 2 shades that were more on the textured side. So that's a good balance of what we want of Eternal. On the upper eyelid, I'm going to take that same thing on the outer corner of the lower lash line, just to melt everything together. Again, I'm going to office, so I want to keep it colorful, but I want to keep it wearable too. How are we going to achieve that? That's my question, right? That's always the question. Now let's dip into Heartbeat, this one. And I'm going to take Heartbeat more on the crease, and then I'm going to blend it down with that gray shade too. And this is definitely more mauvey, pinky shade. more mauve than pink, I would say. Once we have that blended all across the crease, I think I'm gonna take a little bit of the shade Affectionate, the first peach shade, and I'm gonna take that in the extreme edges of that mauve shade just to blend everything together. And I'm taking the same Heartbeat shade on my lower lash line too. Again, just to blend everything out. So at this point, we have that gray and that mauve shade all blended out together very, very nicely. And we can deepen it out when we reach towards the end, I would say. Okay, now time for shimmers. Now, I don't feel personally I need any glitter glue with the Kryptein Cosmetics shimmers. I feel like my eyes crease if I do use like a textured shadow on top of it. And because the one is a little bit more textured, what I'm going to do is take a very little bit, like very tiny little bit, and it's very dimensional. I'm just going to take and tap it on my eyes without any glitter glue or anything, and I'm gonna tap it, mainly merging both the mauve side as well as on top of a little bit of the gray side too, just so that I have that dimension but I don't have that thick textured feeling going on. Okay, I'm just gonna tap it right. Again, I love a good scattered effect shimmer, but you totally can go like in a swiping motion and get more opaque shadow on top of your eyelid. That is not my aim for today. Now I'm gonna take a smaller brush and I'm gonna dip into this shade, Fallen Star, this yellow shade that you see, the yellow shimmer, and it has like a yellow to a green flip. I'm gonna take that in the inner corner, and I'm also gonna swoop it in the inner part of the crease, just like that. Okay, again, because I'm not taking any glitter glue or anything, I will get the shimmery effect more as compared to opaqueness, and that's exactly what I'm looking for right now. I'm going to blend a little bit here just because I don't want that stark effect, but you can definitely make it more stark, as you can see, just because I'm going to office. Yeah, I'm just blending like this just so that there's a veil of that yellow happening, but nothing too crazy. I am going to deepen out a tad bit with that Eternal shade in the edges where it meets with that pink, just so that it's not like crazy stark difference between a shimmer and a matte. Now let me finish off this eye with some liner and mascara. And that's my final look with the Kryptein Cosmetics Violet Crazy palette. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this look. I really wanted to go more like wearable kind of an effect with even like such beautiful shifty shadows. I really love the quality of Kryptein Cosmetics eyeshadow, and I feel like this is the most textured, as I said. Rest everything is so smooth, and on the eyes, if you take a very little bit and then just like blend it across the eyes, it will give such a beautiful dazzling effect on the eyes. That's my favorite thing about Kryptein Cosmetics. I cannot wait to see what they are coming out in future. But that's all for today. If you did like my video, you know what to do. Do let me know in the comment section below, out of the 3 looks, which one was your favorite. But yes, I loved playing with all the 3 palettes, the Violet Crazy, Chicago Speakeasy, as well as the Rich Romantic palette. These are some of my favorite palettes in my collection. But that's all for today. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.